Coming to you again from Malawi, Africa. Learning so much here. Just to be here is a wealth of knowledge that comes to you by just observing and watching the people here and looking at how things grow and etc. But this morning I've been thinking about this concept of this divine principle. And I believe now, after 50 years of studying this divine principle and learning it and teaching it and trying to understand it, I have become a divine principlist. A divine principlist. I'm not a unificationist. I am a divine principlist, which is encompassing of all of what unification is, or Catholic or Baptist or whatever you want to be, a lawyer, doctor. It doesn't matter. If you have the divine principle in you as your ethic concept of what is right and wrong, centered on the divine guidance from the divine that created all things, then the goal is to become one with that. And I guess the best thing that you could say about that is that we live in the lowest common denominator of a divine principleless individual is that he lives or she lives in integrity. That's the bottom, that's the common denominator. And this integrity is just the basic foundation of what is right and how to love and treat and care for other people. And when we have this understanding of the divine, we should look at ourselves as divine creatures. Excuse me. So, in this understanding of our divinity, and it doesn't. You don't have to go to school or get a degree from a divinity college or something like that to get this, because birds and animals, beavers, and all things. Nobody teach a bird how to create a bird's nest, or a beaver how to build a dam, and help the balance nature and be able to feed through that. All of these animals have come from a knowing of what to do at the right time for their own self preservation and to help others. Everybody's benefiting. It's a natural equity that comes along with the nature in their own divineness. So if animals and birds can have a divine, they don't. A bird is not taught how to fly. A bird knows how to fly, and a bird doesn't argue with fish who swims in the water. The fish know how to swim. Nobody teaches them how to swim. They're born knowing how to swim because they're in one with the water. Birds are one with the air, and their being is just a solid. They don't question, am I a bird, or am I a snake, or am I something else? And they look at something and want to be that other than who they are. But because we have such an array of knowledge and all understanding of things, and we can do all these things, sometimes we get confused and focus on the wrong issues. How we dress, how we sing, what we say, what books we read, what college we go to, then begin to create our value rather than understanding the value that we have is our own divinity. So this divineness that we have, that was ingrained in us from the very beginning of creation itself, is something that we have neglected over time, and we call that, of course, the beginning of that downfall or neglectedness is the fall of man in the Garden of Eden. In the process of that, we have to understand how to get it back. This is one of the reasons I've come to Africa. So this is the origin, the beginning of all life. and all knowledge and all wisdom, and all understanding. The plan was given to this group here to be fruitful, to multiply, and take dominion was given to this land first before anywhere else. I do also want to address, I've got some comments and ask me to try to explain this a little more, and this concept of chosen, the chosen people. And I want you to know, especially those who question me about this, to be chosen, what does that mean? It's almost say, oh, I study divine principle, or I teach divine principle and don't know what it means. You don't know how to live it. You don't know how to express it. You don't know how to be a divine principle person in what you're teaching. So let's look at this chosen concept, a chosen person or a chosen group of people or chosen people. Who are they? What does that mean? To be chosen means to take responsibility. To be chosen doesn't mean that you're greater than someone else. To be chosen doesn't mean that you have more than someone else, or you're more blessed than anyone else, or you're more favored than anyone else. To be chosen simply means that you have a greater responsibility than anyone else. To be chosen means that you now are considered a person that will understand when things are right and when things are wrong. To be chosen means that you're ready to go to the front line and take the bullet first, or the spear, or the storm. One thing about America that I love is the buffalo, the American buffalo. If you notice, American buffalo head is huge. And that's a reason. It's a reason for that. In a storm, when the storm comes, the buffaloes, the first thing they do is gather around and huddle. And they put the young in the middle to protect them. And instead of running away from the storm or the blizzard, they turn around and they face the storm and the blizzard. They put their head down and charge into it and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going until they run out of the storm over on the other side. They go through the storm and not run away from the storm. A chosen person or a chosen group of people is that concept, that purpose. I'd rather not be chosen because I don't feel qualified to be chosen. But if I am chosen, I have to understand what that means. It doesn't mean that you have done all things right all the time. Look at the thief on the right-hand side of Jesus. What did he do? Just he understood something. He understood Jesus' divinity and who Jesus was, and he recognized that, and he repented for his sins and begged Jesus to take him with him when you go. Just remember me. I don't want, just remember me. That he was chosen by Jesus and he went together. How about Saul, who was killing the Christians? All of a sudden, he was chosen. And in that choice, he changed his narrative of understanding that these people are bad to they're good, and I'm now going to take responsibility for the things I've done wrong and help them. And thus we have Christianity today. To be chosen, that's what it means in my opinion. Not that I'm greater or better than anyone else, or I have more authority than anyone else. No, it just means I have more responsibility. So that's the answer on that question. And the divineness that we have within ourselves, we have to keep working it, because there's no end to divineness, because a divine concept or divine God comes from an eternal source. So the more you become divine, the more you want to be divine, and the more room there is to be divine. You just keep growing and growing. There's no end to it. There's no beginning and there's no end. You just keep growing and growing. If we can get this right, less than 1% of the world can understand this concept simple and be taught how to use it, how to live the principle every day in a relationship of husband and wife and family and community. The world will change faster than any time, anywhere, ever in history. If we get it right, it's our choice. So if you want to be divine, if you want to be special, if you want to be chosen, that's a good thing to be chosen to do that and to live out our lives in this way. God bless you. Love you so much. It's always a pleasure. I get serious sometimes. I don't mean to. Please forgive me, but it's just a joy sometimes